An update to the case that never ends. We've got Brown, KJP's attorney, saying that he could be disqualified from representing KJP over what's transpired in the lawsuit. It's pretty crazy, honestly. After the second Barnhart declaration was filed, I was concerned that plaintiffs were setting up an argument for disqualification. Accordingly, I arranged a meet and confer with plaintiffs' counsel on the 27th to discuss the matter and my plan to bring a motion to qualify, seeking an order finding that no disqualifying attorney-client relationship was formed. No disqualifying attorney-client relationship was formed. Wouldn't that mean you don't represent Lori? To my surprise and temporary relief, in the call, plaintiffs' counsel assured me they had no intention of arguing for disqualification based on any such alleged attorney-client relationship. This is too much. Based on that representation, I sought further guidance on the potential conflict issue and determined could be obviated if plaintiffs would confirm in writing what they represented during the call. Then he goes on here, number 5. I proceeded to repeatedly ask plaintiffs for the confirmation in writing. They repeatedly refused. Initially, they explained they wanted to keep open the possibility of moving to disqualify if they learned any new information. I responded explaining that I only need a stipulation based on information currently known. The information they had when they expressly disclaimed any concern. Then their explanation shifted. They responded that they did in fact have concerns. What does this mean? He's saying that Saltsy started off saying he wouldn't try to get Brown kicked off the case, but later on said, well, I might try to get you kicked off the case. They did have concerns about what they knew at the time of the meet and confer, and they would not sign a stipulation. So this scared Brown. That's why he filed this. This explanation was directly contrary to their representations during the meeting. The email exchange attached herein proves it. I've looked further into the matter of disqualification since you informed me last week that you have no intent to challenge my ability to continue as defendant's counsel based on Lori. Hey, Michael, I don't believe there's anything to stipulate in this instance. If we did stipulate to such a motion, I don't feel like we should be precluded from raising an issue. It becomes an issue later on. I've never been asked to stipulate to someone being qualified to represent a party, so I'm not sure why that's necessary in this instance. Maybe they're just trying to keep it in their pocket for later. But Saltsy, or whoever, I don't think he's talking to Saltsy, it's a different attorney, is saying, I've never had to do this before. So it's pretty crazy.
1, that there was never an attorney-client relationship, and 2, that there was not a conflict. And I didn't agree with that position that there was not a conflict, and I'll tell you why. Why I believed there was a conflict is because Lorianne was saying things that, if true in her signed declaration, go against KJ's interest at this point of trying to get jurisdiction elsewhere. Lorianne was saying, I was essentially an agent. I worked on behalf of and with KJ to do things for her and for her channel, and I live in Washington, and she knew I lived in Washington. Those things are against KJ's interest in the legal sense of the word, because KJ's saying no contacts with Washington, and Lorianne's saying, I'm in Washington, motherfuckers, and this is what I did. And so that sets up an agency in Washington, which is against interest.
The issue that Brown is facing now, so everybody understands why this is a problem. If Brown represents without a crystal ball, and now it becomes adverse with Lorianne, and Brown has talked to Lorianne in this relationship, attorney-client relationship, then if the other side calls Lorianne as a witness, right, to say, hey, this is what happened in Washington, Brown would not be able to cross-examine her. Brown would not be able to challenge her because Brown has a conflict between, she's told me things as a client, she's told me things as a client, so there's a conflict of interest, and Brown may not be able to go forward with the case because if Lorianne's up there saying that me and Katie had a deal and we were in Washington, that's why you should get jurisdiction, Brown can't challenge that because Brown represented Lorianne, right? You can't scumbag your client that way. You can't throw your client under the bus.
Do I think the judge will rule on jurisdiction if there weren't all these filings? I think the judge can rule on jurisdiction either way, and I think the judge should rule and file a jurisdiction so we can move on with our lives.
Looks like he's just randomly swinging at everyone in the commentary community one by one because he's so upset that people criticized him and he can't take the criticism. It's so dumb. So Kavos responded to the situation. And he says, the biggest joke in the commentary community, known for his slander and still has me blocked, is now pandering to Dream Stands on these ridiculous accusations because I made him cry a year ago.
Okay, that clip you just saw was from Tipster, as you know. So check out his entire video on this. I'll try to link it in the About section. We've been talking about Def Noodles, and he just loves to take shots at people and kind of report in a biased way. He's now been dubbed Defamation Noodles. Take a look at this. He says, who could have seen this coming? Dreams fans expose commentary YouTuber Kavos for using, you see what he's saying, I don't want demonetized, in the past, saying that Kavos is that, so don't support him or something. When another fan said, you don't get to tell me what's that, Kavos responded, yes, I do. Here's the tweets. Let's go through them. If you don't know this, Kavos is this. Don't support him. I'm not going to use the old screenshots from 2016 since the word was normalized. This exists from 2020. Kavos responds, I'm Alex Stans demanding an apology because I used this word. No thanks. I'm not apologizing for something that's 4 years old. And if you knew of, I don't even know who that is, he deserved to be called a lot worse. Defamation Noodles says, Kavos responded to the situation saying the narrative is false. He did not deny using the word. Well, of course he didn't. There's screenshots of it. Why would he deny it? You realize you could go back and grab H3H3, you could grab Keemstar, and you can grab, iDubbbz, and they've used much worse words. I don't understand this whole thing. It's so stupid. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to say this one last time for Dream Stands because the narrative is false. I support everyone, no matter what sexuality. I've never been that. And the use of one word 5 years ago doesn't make that true. If you watch me, you would know this isn't true. And I watch Kavos and I do not believe he is what they're saying he is. He then says, I respect the Dream Stands who aren't throwing around false claims just because I got an interview with them. Not all of you are crazy. But you need to put the crazy ones in check because they are a horrible representation of your community. I completely agree with this. I completely agree. Kavos, nailing it. You said this and refused to apologize. Why would he? If he doesn't want to apologize, you can't force him to. It would just be fake. You got to remember, a lot of the apologies you get from YouTubers, famous people, celebrities, politicians are fake. At least he's being honest with you. I said a word 5 years ago to a man who wasn't even a word that was common back then in the gaming community, and I used it once. I'm not apologizing because I'm not what you say I am, or what you're trying to paint me as. It's probably a better way to say it. Defamation Noodles goes on to say, another Dream fan said that Kavos is, and Ablius, by the way, he's a trash person. And it shows it, and then links to the person. Jeez Louise. I never get this kind of stance, says someone with heterosexual. If a gay person or a whole group tells you that using this is this, it's this. No, that's not how it works. It's just not. What? No, people can't actually give their thoughts and talk. You just get to say, hey, I'm that, and I get to tell you what this is. No, you don't. It normalizes the use. 4 years ago was not long. I'm not into canceling, but that causes damage. How? Just don't watch Kavos. Just change the channel. Bruh, 4 years ago, the internet was a lot like the Wild West. Fast forward later, and it's a bunch of crybaby stans and fans who will cancel people over literally anything, even if it's old. You've been around other websites, you get the picture. There we go. There's a little logic injected here. So then somebody responds with this. Why am I going to show you this video? Because I think it explains why Kavos, why Defamation Noodles goes at the people he goes at. All right? Which, if you think about it, means that it's not news, it's not logic, it's his bias or it's his experience, right? Now, if people admit to you they have some beef or problem, that's fine. And you say, look, I got a problem with this person because this happened all this time ago. Yeah, that's all right. But you noticed, as I've shown you in my last video, Defamation Noodles doesn't tend to give you the background info. So here's what happened between him and Kavos a year ago. Here we go.
Guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to have a conversation with you guys because especially after yesterday's video. I got a lot of feedback. A lot of you guys thought I wasn't being my regular self. I wasn't being like super excited and just animated about how I was reacting. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I've just been kind of sad over the past few days, ever since that whole thing with Kavos, where he basically tore my channel apart. I appreciate all the positive feedback I got from all of you. A lot of you left some really kind comments. You know, it went on Twitter, were really nice to me. So I definitely really appreciate that. But everything he said has kind of been cycling in my head, and I've been thinking about it and thinking of new ways that I can improve my channel. I don't know immediately what I'm going to do, but I've been trying out different things here and there. I am kind of going through a small personal crisis, if that's what you can call it. Somebody like literally tried to break into my house at 5 a.m. I woke up with the alarm going off. All the criticism I've been receiving from like YouTubers like Kavos.
I'm not going to go in and spend hours looking at Kavos, criticizing him, and then look at all the videos after, but I am going to take what Noodles said as a truth. You know, I'm going to trust him on this. He said that after Kavos criticized him, he ended up changing things, thinking harder about what he was doing, and then his channel blew up. Let me show you what he said on Twitter about it. In the video a year ago, you just heard him say, after the criticism, he started to think about how he could change and do better. Well, listen to this. He said this today. If you've ever thought of quitting your dreams, don't worry, I have too. I almost quit 511 days ago, so that's like 2 years. I didn't quit. My channel has grown exponentially. Whatever you're doing, don't quit. No matter what anyone says about you. Evil people will only triumph if you let them get to you. And he shows these clips from this video. It was after the whole thing blew up, right? Someday this video will be 10 years old and my most popular video, and I'll still be here. Anything's possible. You just got to keep going. The funny thing is, if you listen to his video, it sounds like the changes that he made after being criticized helped him grow to 500 and some thousand subscribers. And this event sounds like the catalyzing event for it. It may not be. Either way, some changes did happen, as he admits, and then he grew. Some criticism is constructive, some isn't, some's good and some's bad. It really does seem like Defamation Noodles became the bigger channel he was, with this being some kind of factor to it. Criticism is good if it's constructive, so either way. Next up today, a YouTuber pranks the police by pulling up to a cop car and pretending to pass out, laying his head on the horn. It's really bad. I think he deleted the video. Take a look. Oh, before this happened, he literally just pulls up right here, so you know. Okay, I didn't think he planned on getting his windows busted out, but it gets worse.
I want my props.
Here we've actually managed to capture 2 clout chasers in the wild.
This morning, a YouTuber has been arrested after being accused of faking a medical emergency in Times Square. 30-year-old Zishan Soroyo of Queens, who goes by Prince Z on YouTube, is facing several charges. Pictures show the YouTuber slumped behind the wheel of a car and later on the ground, surrounded by officers in what Police Commissioner Shea called a, quote, dangerous stunt.
So here's the article. YouTuber arrested accused of faking Times Square medical incident. A YouTuber has been arrested after being accused of faking a medical emergency in Times Square. The man, 30, of Queens, who goes by Prince Z on YouTube, facing several charges. The YouTuber who faked the medical emergency to gain followers also gained a criminal record, as now he's been arrested and charged with a dangerous stunt that took the first responders away from other New Yorkers in actual distress. He is charged with obstructing governmental administration, false reporting of an incident, criminal nuisance, and disorderly conduct. Some of his more popular videos are titled Lighting a on Fire and Pooing in an Adult Diaper Around New York City. Do I need to say anything about this? This is how far people will go to get those views. And in our next segment, Shane Dawson has been exposed again. For what? I suppose he told a 14-year-old to shut the F up. She said, Shane Dawson's YouTube channel, orgasming over food, putting dumb stuff on his face, asking food companies to sponsor him. Shane comes back and says, I literally directed a movie. Shut the F up. Cancel culture at its finest here. I don't think this is even worth reporting on, but why am I showing it to you? Because it's firing around. It's firing around out there. The tweet in question that I found this through, 1.2K likes. And this is the end of the video. So you can like, subscribe, join the channel, upvote, downvote, or don't do anything. I just appreciate you being here and watching, especially if you made it to the end. Also, turn on the bell. Do that though, regardless of what else you do. Next video will be a Dr. Phil video. Why? My favorite police impersonator was on Dr. Phil, and I'm about to record a little bit more for it. So, see you in the next one. I'm out.